Welcome to the Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Filmmaker podcast, hosted by Charles Aline and Dr. Christopher C. Odom. On this episode, we speak with filmmaker BonVida and actor-musician Leslie A. Jones, aka Mr. Jones, about the recent hip-hop horror film, The Night Boyz. Get tickets now for The Night Boyz Los Angeles red carpet premiere on Saturday, October 14th at 2:30 p.m. by visiting thenightboyzmovie.com. This episode is sponsored by the Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival, which is dedicated to ensuring that Caribbean and Latino filmmakers have a voice that's heard and a wide audience to showcase their work.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Again, our podcast is really growing. I want to thank everyone that's been listening to us and reaching out to us. The podcast has been growing. Today we have two guests today, two amazing filmmakers that we're going to talk to. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. First, we're going to start with Mr. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, everyone. My name is Leslie A. Jones, a.k.a. Mr. Jones, and that's spelled M-I-S-T-E-R. And I'm a musician, actor, poet. I've been in the business since 1992. And I've seen a lot of things, and I've done a lot of things. Major television shows, independent films, and what have you. And and right now I run my own radio station on my app. If you guys ever want to contact me, you could always download LJ Presents, and that'll get you right to me. And I've just been kicking around in this industry for a good while. I mean, I've had some successes, and it's just been a good thing. It's just a way of life for me. That's all. I'm not expecting to get rich or famous, but the fact is that I've had a great time, and I'm having a great time with doing these independent projects and also the film things on television that I get called for. So yeah, it's just fun for me. That's all.
How you doing? So the name is BonVida, and I have to say I am a veteran of 3 wars. First, as a kid, I was a veteran of the gang wars, and moved on to the drug wars, and then joined the military, which straightened me out a little bit, and a veteran of those wars. Always had a passion for film and music, and basically got into the music industry as a term of my probation when I got in trouble, because I had to join a school to keep up with the system's expectations of me being on probation. And being a small town guy from Boston, Massachusetts, I kind of rose to the top in the music industry, as well as radio producing. And I figure, if I can do this in 6 to 9 months, imagine what I could do in LA or New York. So the only reason why I chose LA was basically the weather, and came to LA, been, producing film and TV for about 12 years, sold everything I owned to come to LA, and started with nothing. And after 12 years, did, numerous TV shows, movies, commercials. I can sit here and list all the talent that I worked with. Then COVID hit, and kind of was a reality check, and had to shut down, my offices, and kind of regroup, and realized that, my initial passion was to be a filmmaker, not a producer. So I got tired of building other people's dreams, and it became time for me to hire people to build my dreams, right? And that's where we're at today. And a little bit about my background. I'm a Cape Verdean American. My father's Puerto Rican. And, Cape Verdeans are a small island chain on the west coast of Africa. We get left out on most maps. It's like the Hawaii of Africa. It's a 10-island chain on the west coast. And we got some stories that need to be told. And, that's what I'm here in LA doing now. And, just kind of injecting my philosophy and the things that I see wrong with the world into the entertainment industry, because nowadays people don't like to read books. Sometimes they got to watch, movies or music, because everybody learns different, right? Some people learn with their eyes, some people learn with their ears, and some people learn with their emotions. So I feel like, that's my purpose, and I'm living my purpose, and I'm very grateful, because a lot of people don't get to realize that, and they get stuck in this path, and they just become miserable and live a life with regrets. So thankfully I don't have that problem anymore.
With the Cape Verdean heritage, I'm a dancer. I have to ask if you can do kizomba, or anybody in your family does kizomba.
Kizomba, there's a large community in LA as well with the kizomba, but yeah, it's definitely the move, man. If you can do kizomba, you can really approach a lot of Cape Verdean women and make an impression. So
I am a dancer.
Man, that's really good. I love that you talk about your rich ethnicity. That's really good, and a lot of folks don't dwell on that especially when they get to America. We tend to just all fall into one group. And if you can tell me a little bit about your ethnicity and how did your parents actually met? That would be a good story for our audience.
Yeah. So my dad is from Puerto Rico and my mom is from Cape Verde. And she moved here back in the 70s when she was about 17. She was a single mom, met my dad in Boston. In the disco era of the 70s, they got together. I believe they met because my dad's sister was dating my mom's brother. And my mother's brother was an accomplished boxer from Brockton, Massachusetts. His name's Tony Lopes. He used to train with Marvin Hagler and all these other boxers. Also, Brockton is the hometown of Rocky Marciano. And unfortunately, he passed away in a car accident right after, achieving his goals of becoming New England champion and all these things. And I was named after him. So, back to my parents, they got together and, being in the 70s and having, 3 more children together, they kind of fused this culture of Cape Verdeans and Puerto Rican. And basically, my mom learned how to cook Puerto Rican food and use some of those elements to add to the Cape Verdean food, and vice versa with my dad. So that fusion is something that's very interesting as well. But yeah, that's just how they met in the 70s, and they raised 4 kids and did a good job.
Man, I love that story. So you got to ask these questions. The reason why I asked that question, you see how it's part of American history, so to speak. We talk about Rocky Marciano. We talk about, Hagler. I mean, these are stuff that binds us together. That's why I love answering these questions, because it gives you a window into history, so to speak, that folks would not know about, right? So my next question, and it's for any one of you guys who wants to answer it first. It's like, what was the initial genesis for you to get into film? What was that spark? I'm gonna leave it open to anyone.
Well, for myself, I'm gonna answer first, I guess. But for myself, I had no intentions at all be an actor or to even learn the film business or anything. I'm a musician first and foremost, and I never ever thought that I would be into acting and that I would, So what happened to me is I moved here from Philadelphia, and my past was kind of tainted and troubled back there. But I was working for a job that was located in the capital of Film City here, Culver City. And each day I would take a run, like a 2-3 mile run on my lunch break and come back, And this one particular day, I actually saw a film set, and these people, I forget what TV show it was, but they were filming an episode of a TV show. And I actually stopped and I watched them, and it looked to me like, it's like, man, these dudes they're doing what I do every day. They're talking to people, and it's a situation, So, I said to myself, man, they're making all that money to do what? Nothing, So, so what I did was, I talked to someone, and they said, well, what you really should do is go to find out what they're really doing, because I'm quite sure it's just not nothing. And then I did. I signed up for a class and started going through the things that they teach you in acting class and whatnot. And the whole world opened up to me. And it was like, no, these guys are really doing something, because it's just not like you and I talking here. It's all scripted. So you have to bring whatever, is whatever emotions or whatever to this character. So from that point on, I was in. So that's my story,
Yeah.
Okay, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, for me, it's always been a passion to be a filmmaker. It started with my dad. My dad had no filter since I was a baby. They would always bring me into the movie theaters. Didn't matter what movie it was. One of my earliest memories in life was being in a movie theater and seeing this crazy horror movie called Troll. I don't know if you ever remember that movie, but it's
yeah,
monsters and all these things. And I'm in the theater watching it as a kid. And, my dad, I credit him with everything, because this dude would record every single movie when we got cable. We had the black box. So, so we had all the, but he would just record every single movie. So we had a library of VHS tapes, and that was my babysitter, right? Similar to the movie The Cable Guy, Jim Carrey, like just always in front of the TV. When people say, oh, TV rots the brain, maybe so, it depends what content you're absorbing. But for me, it was an education in a sense to this outside world, especially growing up in the hood, and you're in a bad neighborhood and you're not allowed to play outside. So all you have is inside. So instead of reading books, we had libraries of movies. And I would always watch these movies and point out, oh, that's not real. That's not this. Oh, that's fake. And everybody else would be seeing a different vision than what I was seeing. And that kind of, hinted to me that I was different from everybody, right? And then it excelled when I got my hands on a camera. My dad had cameras, and I would take them and run off and take pictures and do this and do that. And for school, I would take the video camera and just film something in my basement and then bring it to show and tell. And that was like my first taste of actually directing when I was like 9 years old. Right. I took my dog and brought her in the basement, and I was like, all right, we're going to capture the dog with a net and turn it into an action movie. And then once I learned that you can take a blank piece of paper and just create anything you want, any world. If you want to have purple elephants on a blue planet, whatever you want to do, you can create it and then bring it to life, That's like the ultimate art form for me. And, infuse it with my love for music. It combines best of both worlds. And that's just, once I get that flow going, I'm unstoppable, man. It's a beautiful thing.
That's really great. I love these both of these stories. It's really great. So you guys are, you start, you got that inspiration, you got that love. Tell me about when you first got on a film set. What was that experience like? What did you bring to the set? Did it meet your expectations? Give me your first story about getting on the film on a set for the first time and doing the movie. It's open to Mr. or BonVida. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I tell you, my experience is that, with everything that was going around. Now, mind you, my first real experience with set was I got cast as a recurring character in Beverly Hills 90210, the original, and it was like I had to pinch myself, man, just to see if I was still here, because I had done extra work and everything else leading up to that. And then when I finally got there and I finally I felt like I had arrived because I mean, I had my own trailer and they would call me to set, and I had makeup people and this, that, and other, and then when I got on set, man, it was like it was scary. I was nervous. However, I'm like this. You can throw me in the fire and I'm going to get the job done. And the more fire, the better the job, So it was just so exciting for me that I couldn't believe it was actually happening, and all the people that were with me, Luke Perry, Ian, just a lot of people, man, that were there to assist me. And it was just so great to see that these people been around a long time, but they were not snobbish and they understood where I was. So all that made for a very, very good experience for me. And like I said, after that, I moved on to actually working with Wesley Snipes, doing his stunts and double work. And that was a whole different animal because this was film and not television. So I got a chance to sit back and learn, what went on in films. And I was able to take that experience to another experience, a movie that I did called The Riff. Excuse me. And I was working with Antonio Fargas, or Huggy Bear. And it's like from those experiences, I was able to show up and show out. And I got very, very confident at the work that I do. So that was my experience, man. And I'm still trying to do that.
Man, you have a rich history. 9021, Beverly Hills, Huggy Bear. I mean, that's some iconic stuff that was your experience, and being a double for Wesley Snipes. I mean, wow. What was the first movie for you as a double for Wesley?
It was the movie called what was it?
I think it was The Fan.
No, The Fan. Yeah, The Fan. Then One Night Stand, I think it was. Yeah, The Fan. That's right, with Robert De Niro. And the good thing about that is that I was able to be able to be a photo double. I was able to be a stuntman on that show, The Fan. And through doing that, I gained the trust and confidence of Tony Scott, which is no longer here with us, but the director of that movie, and Robert De Niro, because what they would do is they wouldn't have Wesley even walk through the scenes. They would have me walk through the scenes and then tell him, listen, you follow this path, you follow that path, you deliver a line here, you deliver a line there, because the things that I was giving them was so rich that they were filming all this stuff, And the fact of the matter is that it said that Wesley kind of sort of got pissed about that. And the reason being is because he was kind of sort of being told what to do after I had set things up. And he didn't like that at all. So he would start going against the grain, but also they would, Robert De Niro told me, he said, man, dude, listen, let me tell you something. He said, you're a great actor, man. He said, and I can't wait to see your films. And to double up on that, Tony Scott was like, hey, listen, he said, I can't give you a role in this because you look so much like Wesley that people wouldn't know who they're looking at, He said, but I promise, man, I'm going to give you your start for real, And unfortunately, he passed away. But even in The Fan, if you look at some of the scenes, they're not Wesley doing them, they're me, So and that stuff made it to film. So there you go, So I'm still doing my thing, you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. It's great to hear the accolades and stuff like that, but the fact is that I don't care who you are in this business. It's that machine that makes you. And the only thing I'm full and happy about is that I'm able to wake up every day and do what it is that I love doing. And that's the highest pay I can ever get, So.
That's
So
great,
that's
man.
a really great story that they told Wesley, just do what Leslie did. And he was like, man, I thought I was a star. What the hell?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that
That's
ended our relationship as well, because after the fan, I think I did one more movie with him, which was One Night Stand. But then after that, it was like, I did the first Blade, a little bit on the first Blade, but then after that, he brought in another cat, and X me out, period, So, and I
Yeah.
get it, and now
It's
that I
like
evolved out.
the Questlove Rick James Prince story. If you've never heard that's a great story to read online. Prince used to open for
right. Right.
yeah, Prince used to open for Rick
Right.
James and
Right. Yep. And he didn't like that at all. Yeah, he did some crazy stuff behind the scenes, the Prince, Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's one of those life lessons you learn here, is that you never know who you're talking to. And I treat everybody as if I'm going to be working for them in 5 years.
Exactly.
You never know. I was a producer on this TV show, and it was a big network type show, and I used to treat everyone like equals. Everybody else, in the producer role, they were, a little arrogant, little this, little that, but I was treating everybody equally. And then one day after like the 4th season, all the producers, and my assistant became one of the producers. So I had taught him everything he needed to know. And the fact that he replaced me and he was my assistant, not even a producer or a junior producer, he was just my office assistant. It shows that, you never know who's going to rise up in the ranks, right? And for all I know, this guy's probably a senior producer somewhere. I can always pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm looking for a job now. What's up, right? You just never know. So that's one of those things in this town that you hear. A lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. And people don't forget. People do not forget. And Leslie can testify to this. It's like there's a lot of people that come around and they don't think they're going to see you again. So they don't perform, or they're not honorable, or whatever. But word travels fast, and reputations are everything. It's a very small town, and you burn your bridges, man. That's not a good reputation to have.
There's an old saying that you meet the person going up as you meet them coming down, right? So, what that means is that you really have to respect everyone. You don't know where you're going to be 5 years from now, or where that person is going to be 5 years from now. So we need to come with respect. We need to respect everyone. That's what I'm getting from listening to you guys, right? That there's a sense of we have to come with respect. We all are artists here, so we want to create the best job for the public, right? That's the end of the day, is the product. It's not the politics, but it's the product. But I want to get back, just because I asked Leslie, Mr. Right? You guys got to forgive me here, because I know
it's
the
all
name.
good. It's all good.
So I want to get back to BonVida, right? Am I pronouncing it correct?
BonVida.
BonVida. All right. So what I want to hear from you now is your first experience on that set. When you get there, did it fulfill your expectations?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so I have to say, coming into the industry as a producer first, it was all business, it was all technical, and the military actually prepared me for that. Because when I was in the military, I worked on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. So, you got 15 people running around on the flight deck. Everyone had different color shirts. You got jets over here, you got bombs over there, you got fuel over there, firefighter. Like, it was organized chaos, right? And kind of like an orchestra, every single person has their own role. And then you have the air boss controlling everything, right? And from the untrained eye or an outside eye, it looks like chaos. But if you know what you're looking at, you see poetry, you see symmetry, you see all these things, right? And everyone's performing at a high level. And my first time on set, it was very similar to that, where I saw all the chaos. But from film school, I was, trained on what every single job was doing. So the military kind of prepared me for that stress coming onto a set. And the first time on set was, I would say, in film school, where we arrive at film school, and that day they were like, all right, you're going to write down on a piece of paper an idea, a story, and tomorrow we're filming it. Like, whoa, what? Automatically throwing us in the fire, right? So the next day, it's me and 3 of my classmates, and we have a camera, somebody's the actor, and somebody's, doing this. And we're on a very small set. And then, a week later, we're doing 5-minute movies. And then 2 weeks later after that, we're doing 10-minute movies, right? So it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, once I got out of film school, immediately all my friends were in the class before me. So when I got out, they were already established. So they're like, hey, we're gonna send you to this film. We're gonna give you a job as a PA. And it was like, all right, cool, no problem. I'm thinking it's like, a small set with 15 people on there. No, this was like a major multi-million-dollar movie. There was about 45 people there working. And I'm like, oh, wow, But again, my training taught me like everything that I'm looking at. So I understood everything right away. So within maybe an hour or two, I had the hang of things and really just got thrown into the fire. And then my next project after that, I was producing a film, right? And then I'm organizing all of it now. I'm the conductor. And the next project after that, I was back to being a PA again, getting coffee, taking out garbage, and all these other things. So I was just like at the top of the level, top to bottom, and just all these crazy experiences from the top to the bottom, prepared me to respect that orchestra, that symphony or whatever. And one thing I learned is that just like in a symphony, right, or in a band, you can't hear the strings over here. You can't hear, the individual instruments. You hear the whole band as a whole. So it's all energy, man. And it's just similar how you can take, military structure, compare it to the business world, or compare it to a film set, or compare it to a band, right? It's all energy, and it's all everything flows together. But it was very, very crazy those first couple of years, man, just getting thrown into the fire like that. But it's sink or swim. It's sink or swim. And I'll leave it with one more thing. When it comes to people in this industry, and this is just my experience, you don't really meet them when you first meet them. You meet their representative of who they want you to think they are, right? And you really don't find out who somebody is until you actually go through the trenches with them. When things do go wrong, that's when you realize who people really are. They show you their true colors, sometimes through their actions and not through their words, right? But it's like that with every relationship, you would say as well. But, I don't know if I'm digressing, but.
No. I thought that was really good. Life lessons makes you, right? That's right. Basically that's what you're saying, and I love that. So now, here's the thing. How do you two guys meet? So, because you guys are on the podcast and folks, well, okay, what's going on here? So let's talk about what brought you two guys together, Why? Well, how did you met? What's the reason? And let's talk about how you guys got together. Let's start there.
Take this one, Leslie.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No. So for me, it was during one of my, I wouldn't say worst times, but it was during COVID, and I had to shut down both of my offices, no income coming in, everything was shut down, no more business. So I'm sitting at home and I'm like, man, what is going on? What am I going to do? And I had a little hobby of, taking little acting roles here and there. And I got called to this set for this movie called Fighting Olympus. And it was a quick role. It was the intro of the movie. And I was going to play this drug dealer. And, the drug deal gets raided by the SWAT team, and it kind of sets the tone for this movie. And that was the same movie that Leslie was starring in. And, on that set, I, as a producer, I'm not hanging out with the actors. I'm watching the production. I'm reverse engineering everything. And I ended up talking to the producer. His name was Derek. And, getting an idea of what their budget was and how everything they were doing. And I'm just like, man, you guys are doing this? Like, wow, like I can do this too. Like, and that gave me an idea. Like, man, I'm gonna go home and write me a budget. So I went home, I wrote me a budget for this idea that I had. And, you know, fast forward a couple months, I ended up hiring Derek to produce my film. And he kept pushing me to audition Leslie. And I'm like, dude, listen, I get it. But the way I was looking at it was he's just trying to get all his friends on this project. I'm like, look, I'm going to give the job to whoever auditions the best, whoever is, you know, the best talent. And all he kept doing was just sending me more and more actors. And they're all actors from Fighting Olympus. And I'm like, dude, stop being lazy. Let's do a real casting call. Let's do that. And I clicked on Leslie's audition for Night Boyz. That was it. And I was like, yo, this is the dude that I met, because I briefly met Leslie on set of Fighting Olympus. And it was a quick passing type of a meeting, right? Just, oh, I see the talent. Hey, how you doing? Whatever. But when I saw this man audition, it was like, oh yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's the guy. Let's go. And after that, it was through the creative process of getting Night Boyz going after Leslie was casted is how we really got to, really connect. Especially, I noticed after he read the script for Night Boyz, his whole perspective of me changed, and like the way he was talking to me, asking me questions, because he understood like my mindset and like my knowledge of things, I would say, just by reading the script. And from then on, we just, we talk to each other like with that kind of a wink, like, yeah, you both know the knowledge, you both know what time it is, you both know what's going on as far as the culture, our people, and all the things that are happening. So, that's my interpretation of how me and Leslie kind of connected, right?
Leslie, do you have the same? Go ahead.
I do. I actually do. Because we did meet briefly in Fighting Olympus, because actually I shot him in the movie. He gets killed by my gun. You know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, we met briefly. I mean, in passing. And yes, Derek did hook us up. He kept. But like I said, like he said, once I read that script, I was like, oh my God, I got to do this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you get something that you should be a part of, there's that thing that goes off internally. And it went off for me. I was like, man, yeah, I definitely want to do that. I mean, and honestly, man, I was willing to cut my hair or whatever I had to do to look the part, yada, 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 you know what I'm saying? But fortunately, I didn't have to do that. He didn't want that. He wanted what I came up with, and I thank him for that. And yeah, we got underway, and it was like, yeah, it was something instinctively that we knew that we would be connected at the hip with this thing, and here I am, now I'm on board as a producer, so yeah, so it worked out well for me as far as I'm concerned, because I think the film itself is just a light years away from what any other horror film would be, and then the talent in it is actually A-list, I want to say, but they're not known. And yeah, I mean, it's just, and it's so well shot and produced that, hey, I think it's going to be a winner. So.
Man, that's beautiful. So it's called Night Boyz. Someone want to give me what's the story about? What's the movie about? Anyone wants to share with me?
All right. So the Night Boyz is the tale of two teenage half vampires who are on a mission to retrieve the weapon that will kill the head vampire, all the while he's in the city of LA, turning all the Bloods and Crips into one big vampire army. So, and it's, that's pretty much the log line for it, but it's much deeper than that, right? It's not only a genre that I kind of like to move forward with called the hood horror, right? Because it has a lot of the hood movie tropes, you would say, but also it has, a lot of horror tropes, but also I inject a whole bunch of knowledge throughout the film. And, you know, it tells that tale of, you know, these two half vampires. They're just trying to, you know, do the right thing and vanquish evil. But at the same time, you know, we learn about this head vampire and who he is. So he's kind of an anti-hero in a sense. So we learn through his backstory why he becomes evil, right? So by the end of it, you're kind of conflicted. Okay, he's going about his mission blinded by his rage and his experiences, but he has kind of the right mission, but the way he's executing it is, you know, using evil, because that's the only resources that he has, right? But, you know, sprinkling some werewolves in there, some witches, and some zombies.
Este episodio está patrocinado por el Festival de Cine Latino y Caribeño Our Vision, que se dedica a garantizar que los cineastas latinos y caribeños tengan una voz que se escuche y una amplia audiencia para mostrar su trabajo. El Festival de Cine Latino y Caribeño Our Vision es el único festival de cine latino y caribeño combinado que califica para los Oscar a los cortometrajes. Cada año, Our Vision proyectará a los ganadores de las categorías de cortometrajes en vivo en los cines en ambas costas durante una semana como parte de los requisitos para la consideración del Oscar. Haga clic en el enlace en nuestro perfil ahora para enviar su película al próximo Festival de Cine Latino y Caribeño Our Vision para compartir su trabajo, llegar a su audiencia y convertir sus sueños en realidad.
Film is filled up with a lot of characters, and everybody has their beginning, middle, and end. Everybody has their complete story. And, you know, it's an amazing ensemble, you know, to follow up what Leslie said. I still don't understand how we got this done. I can say it's just pure magic. I mean, from the talent perspective, right? Just everyone brought it. Everyone was just like, I still don't believe it to this day how we accomplished what we did, right? And the only word I can use is just magic, because these actors that came, they just came out of nowhere, did their thing, and then they left. And then it's just like, man, like it just gives me goosebumps just talking about it. And, you know,
Well, I have seen Mr. Jones. I've known Leslie for a while. When I met him, he was Mr. Mr. Jones shared a clip of with me from the Night Boyz with Mr. playing Joshua, who's given a speech to the Crips and Bloods. And the first thing I thought of was the Cyrus scene at the beginning of the Warriors. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a breakout film. So I'm doing my Miss Cleo thing. This is definitely a breakout film. Just get ready to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, man. I mean,
yeah.
We did a quality control screening about 3 weeks ago. Film wasn't ready. So many things still need to be worked on, but I had to get it in front of people because I was in tunnel vision for about 2 years. And I'm like, all right, I got to get it in front of people who don't have any idea what this is or what's going on, and they're not biased or anything like that. And man, sitting in that back row, watching everyone enjoy this film and the whole story, everything made sense to them. And, you know, ultimately they passed the cell phone test, meaning no one in there was checking their phones. And yeah, man, pure magic. And they watched the movie without the audio being mixed, without any VFX being done. You know, the color correction wasn't there yet. Like, they're just watching the raw, you know, the raw version of the film. And man, and I'm just like, yeah, goosebumps.
That's incredible. I want to go one step backwards for a quick second. I want you to tell me why you came up with that idea. What spirit are you on? Why a vampire movie of all things? You know, why? Okay, I'm thinking vampires. What was that like for you? The writing process and the idea, coming up with the idea, and what you wanted to say inside the movie.
Honestly, it was that night. I worked after the night of, after I finished working on Fighting Olympus. I'm like, man, if these guys can do it for this amount of money, I can do it too. So I went home and I'm like, I just came up with a simple idea. Okay, as a producer, I'm putting together these ideas like, okay, what's going to be the cheapest thing to film, right? Let's get one location, a few actors, maybe, one or two other locations we can film at. Keep it real simple, keep it real tight. But then I got on the phone and I started calling people, over 12 years, I've had all these connections, and I just started calling people, hey, you want to invest in this film? You want to invest in this film, right? And I call people that I know that make over 6 figures. So asking each one of them for, about $4,000 or $5,000 is not a big favor to ask of them, right? So out of about 80 people I asked, 12 people said yes. And I'm like, oh shit. This is actually no, 2 days later, I'm like, all right, I actually got to write this movie now, right? So 2 days later, I sat down and I just started writing. And I'm like, okay, first thing I wrote was the beginning, middle, and end. So-and-so does this happens to him, this is how it's resolved. Then you come up with the log line, then a paragraph, and then a whole 1-page synopsis. And I'm like, oh, wow. Then probably like 5 days later, I sat down and I banged out 39 pages of this story. And while it was just flowing. And, in the style of Tarantino, I grew up watching all these films. I have a photographic memory with every single film I've watched since I was a kid. And I'm just stealing, they say great artists steal, right? I'm just taking bits and pieces from all these movies and just applying it to the script and just, oh, that'd be cool. Oh, wait, he does this. Oh, well, I can do it just like this scene in this movie, right? And I got 39 pages and I'm like, man, well, this is a good point to add this knowledge in there, right? Like, for example, the head vampire, he was a slave. And when he gets captured, I add this little dialogue of, well, he's not really African American. He's actually Native American. But because he's dark skinned, they're just going to throw him in with the rest of the slaves and mix them all up. So to confuse, because a lot of African Americans, quote unquote, here in America don't even know that they're not even African American, that they're actually Native American, right? So that's just one little detail that I put in there. And in times 20 or 30 of those little sprinkles that I put in the film, I came up with this 39-page script. And then me understanding that I'm not a master screenwriter, what did I do? I went to the next person that I know that is a master screenwriter, and I collaborated with her, and we got it to 90 pages. And throughout the whole process, I'm sprinkling in my little wisdoms here and there, things that I want to see, stories that I want to get told, and just, kind of disguise it as a horror film, but it's actually an educational film as well, right? You gotta drop that knowledge in.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's really great. So where are you now in the process? You just talked about you screened it, you had like a rough screening, no mixing, no color corrections, no effects. So where are you now and what are you trying to accomplish with the film?
So right now, as of today, we're turning over the project to VFX, and the VFX are going to be cut into the film. It's going to probably be about 2 weeks. Then after that, it's going to go to sound mixing, and that should be about 2 to 3 weeks. And once that's finished, we're hoping to have the cast and crew screening end of September. That is a goal for us that we're putting out there just to apply some pressure for us to really, have some motivation to keep going with it. And then hopefully another screening the next month in October, for the Halloween spirit of it. Just go to the East Coast, go to Boston and do another screening there. And then once that...
Philadelphia.
Yeah, and also Philadelphia, of course. Yes, sir. And
already got it set up.
We're gonna take over the East Coast as well as the West Coast. And once we have those screenings, that will basically be the final test run of it with real audiences. And that will really let us know what works, what doesn't work, if there's any more room for improvement. But I know as a creative, you have to be disciplined and know that your projects are never complete, right? So we basically have to learn when it's time to let go. And after we have those screenings, then it's going to be on to, okay, should we actually sacrifice a year and run it through all the festivals, or should we just go ahead and get it going and just get it out there for distribution? I'm leaning more towards that route because I don't want to get bogged down. I want to already start working on Night Boyz 2. So I rather, have these screenings, get it going, and then from then on, just work on having the distribution set up. And then by the end of the
I'm gonna chime in on your it's definitely like it's just the one scene I saw, I loved it. I love the concept, vampires, zombies, history. I mean, that's hot. Submit to the major festivals, but it's never even going to make it to the festivals. Festival directors they talk of sales agents, they talk of other festivals that will sort of seed your film publicity wise. And before you can even get to a festival screening, you'll get this set up in distribution, but still submit it to the big festivals just as a sort of a publicity stunt. That just happened to a guy for a horror movie, submitted it to like a big festival, and then he got an offer before he could even get to the festival. It was already sold and set up.
Nice. Definitely take that into consideration. Never even thought about it that way. I just I don't have too much experience with it with festivals, so I always looked at festivals as a waste of time from my perspective, and that's only because it's my perspective, right? I have zero experience. I've been to film festivals, and I always look at it like, okay, I'm going to spend money flying myself out there, the cast and crew to show it. Oh yeah, you got a nice little laurel on your movie poster, and then that's it, right? I was coming from a more business side of it, like, yeah, let's just get this thing distributed, But hearing that, opens up a whole new path of thinking for me now, because it's like, okay, maybe I should do that, right?
When you have a hot project, they pay you to fly out, and sometimes they'll even pay you to show it.
See, I didn't know that.
I'm going to chime in here and just, shamelessly plug our podcast, and tell you guys that if you listen to our podcast, we have a filmmaker on there, Patricia, that we interview. What would you say, Chris? Like a third into our podcast?
Yeah, it's around third.
Yeah, and so her thing is she made a film, right? She shot it in Compton, right? And she took this little film and she got into Sundance, and it was on HBO Max.
I watched that girl. I watched your podcast with her, and yeah, I saw her whole interview, man, and it was very informative.
So I'm just saying, it's out there. You guys can do it. Don't say festivals can't do anything for you. It actually can. It actually could propel you to where you want to go. I mean, because she's not working on her next movie. She's looking to get main actors in it. So that's what a festival can do for you. So don't necessarily dismiss it. And what Chris had to say was actually on the money. You can even get offers even before you get to the festivals. So, I did some festivals myself where it was incredible. And from just doing a festival in Germany, I got to teach film in Belgium. And that's because I went to a festival, So you do come away with different things from it. So I would say not to dismiss it offhand based off my experience and dealing with festivals, Yeah,
coming from a very limited perspective of film festivals as well. So that's just my viewpoint on it. So, but also this is coming from somebody who's extremely exhausted.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
It's just like, just we're at the finish line, man. I can see it, and it's just like, man, we're almost there, but we're really, really tired. So definitely, we'll give it a lot more thought once everything's complete and we have time to breathe and talk and really explore and things like that. Most definitely, but Yeah, no, I appreciate the
as a businessman and a producer, I get your vision. I know this is going to be the next thing. Just stay the course.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what I want to get from you guys now, you got your film in the can, you're doing what you need to do, and you want distribution. You want to get it out there. This is your baby. You want to get your baby out there. You want the world to see it, embrace it, love it. So once you get I saw those clips that Chris talked about, especially Leslie, and I was blown away. Let me just tell you guys right away, I was absolutely blown away by his performance. And I saw some of other clips and I heard the story. I was like, this is genius. I was like, you guys got something here. So, and then horror, that particular genre, people love that genre. That genre never dies, man. People love that genre. That genre is still alive today. So I believe that you guys have a bright future once you get out there. People are going to embrace your film, right?
Thank you.
So I want to get from you, how do you see after you finish, and Leslie can chime in on this, and then, you guys can finish up there. How do you see yourself after this? What do you expect once it get out into the public, right? What do you expect would happen? How do you think on a mass, like say if you get a streaming deal or a theater deal, what do you guys expect the embrace will be from the public?
You say expect, honestly, I try not to expect anything. I try to just kind of live in the moment of everything. I would love for people to embrace the film, and I would love for my work to be seen and other people want to embrace me to do work, but like I said, I'm trying to keep myself even keel, because I feel like Chris does. I feel like BonVida does, that this film is going to do a lot, but I don't expect it. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just living day to day, and I'm not sitting here, crossing my fingers or anything like that. As a matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, I know I've done the film and I know I've invested in the film and all that, but that's basically in the past. And I'm moving on to the next thing, because I do have more work in front of me. So yeah, but hopefully I'm hoping, yes, that this will happen, that this may be the break, but hey, like I said, I'm just trying to stay grounded and level-headed.
Maybe I should put it a different way. Manifestation. They say put it out in the universe and make it happen. Your manifestation.
Well, my manifestation is this is going to be the breakout. This is going to be the breakout film for my manifestation. Yeah, because I manifest that this is going to be such a breakout that everyone in the cast and producers, directors, so forth and so on, is going to go to that next level. That is the Wesley Snipes and the Denzel Washingtons and all this stuff. That's my manifestation, So that's, if we're talking about expecting that, yes, I expect that, But that level thing.
What the audience at home does not know is the level of Mr. Jones' craft. This guy is a master. He's a guru. Get some acting lessons from him. Scene stealer. He just brings the house down. I've worked with him for many years. He's been the lead in many of my projects. This guy is so on point. I don't even do any blocking. Like my old producing partner said, you gonna block this? I was like, nah, Mr. Jones, he'll just block everybody. He's gonna show up ready. We're just gonna follow him around. We'll be good. Shoot a reverse. No, he's got this.
This guy is good. Chris, since you brought that up, you guys worked on what? Psalm 23? What? Give me a little bit about that.
And redemption.
We did 23rd Psalm, then we did the sequel, 23rd Psalm Redemption. Before that, I did his music video, one of his spoken word music videos. Spoken Warrior, that was the name of that video. I've shot him in plays. I've shot him performing live with his that wasn't Right Hand Rule at that time. That's his band, but he's got a sax there. He plays jazz flute. This guy's got skills.
Yeah.
So 23rd Psalm Redemption, we shot that a while ago, and at that time we had this little girl in it called Madeline Klein, who is everywhere now. She's starring in The Outer Banks on Netflix. She was just in Glass Onion, Knives Out, and just even as a little girl when she was on 23rd Psalm Redemption, she was killing it. And then when we were editing, we were just scrambling to find every second of Maddie that we could to like cut in, because we're like, oh my God, this girl is going to be on top of the industry when she gets older, because she's already killing it.
Yep.
This is what I want to talk about: manifestation. There it is, guys. There it is. You just say it and it's going to happen. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
There's always magic in the air. Quick story. My first short film I ever did, I did it in Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. And, it was a quick short story. And, this teenager, he's, a bookworm. He goes out and ventures out into the streets and learns this street knowledge that he didn't know that he was getting. He basically got an education from the streets versus education in the books. And there was one guy on the set that somebody sent to help PA. And I had 16 characters in this short film. And out of the 16 characters, 14 of my actors flaked on me, right? Just friends and family. Oh, put me in the movie. Put me in. I'm trying to like show love to everybody. Okay, I'll put you in the movie. None of them had professional skills whatsoever. Hey, can we just do it tomorrow? Can we do that? No, I have a crew of 17 people here right now. You need to be here. So I'm stressing out, and this guy hears me. He's like, "Dude, I can act. Let me play that role." I'm like, "Dude, what? Not now. And finally, I'm like, "You know what? Here, read it. Let's go." I thought I could put him on the spot and just like embarrass him to where he would just stop asking. No, this dude killed it, right? And he basically, shot the scene and he killed it, man. I was like, "Wow, that's really good." Didn't think none of it. 6 months later, he says, "Hey, can I get the footage from my reel? And you have any advice for me?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Sent him his reel. "Here's your advice. Get on a set. Get on a set as a background actor. Shut your mouth. Keep your eyes open. Don't talk to nobody. Don't be that guy. Just go there and do your thing. Go home. You'll get hired for more work." And I'm telling him from my perspective of what I expect from actors. Did he listen to me? No. This guy's at craft services, talking to everybody he can talk to. Next thing you know, he's having a 25-minute conversation with the director. The director ends up being this man named Peter Berg, and the movie was Patriots Day with Mark Wahlberg. And the director liked him so much, he gave him, I think, 2 minutes of screen time in the film with lines. And this guy's name is Brandon Scales. And I'm like, this is incredible. And next thing you know, he's in every one of Peter Berg's movies since then. And I'm like, this is magic, man, right? And he told me, he's like, "Dude, it's all because you gave me that one opportunity." And like I said, you never know who you're talking to or working with, right? The PA, I could have treated him like crap, right? "Hey, go get my coffee. You don't know nothing about acting." No, I treat him like everybody else, and look what happens, right? So now he was actually going to work on Night Boyz, but he was in the union, so he can't. And so the next project, he said, definitely if it's SAG, then bring me on. And not only that, I have some A-list friends that'll come in for favors and help us out. So long story short, if he gets involved with the project, he's bringing all his resources now, and that's all because of our relationship, right? And it's just it just goes back to that. You never know who you're talking to, and the magic of things, man. And just following up on your story about that girl, man, it's just that's just how this town works sometimes.
That's incredible. I love stories like that. So am I gathering that you want to do like a trilogy? Do you want to do a trilogy of this movie, or what's the goal? Yeah. What's the plan? All
right. So like Leslie, I hope for the best, but I prepare for the worst. And the one thing I want more than anything is for Leslie and all of the cast and crew to feel what I felt that day when we had that screening. Like it was just thrown together so last minute because I have a potential investor for Night Boyz 2 who was visiting LA, and I had a few days notice, and I was like, wow, I got to show it to him. This is it's now or never, right? Now is the only time. So I had to put it together really fast. So I called Leslie like, hey, I'm having a screening in a couple hours. Can you make it? It was just so last minute. And, Leslie understands that it wasn't, whatever. But I just want him to feel what I felt that day when I saw these people rooting and cheering and celebrating when the bad guy this and the good guy that. And every single moment that they were supposed to react to, they reacted to. And man, my eyes watered up. And I was just like, oh my God, And I want that experience to be shared with all of them the way I felt. And then my expectations, if that's, if that's the word, is I just want to keep working. I want to make Night Boyz 2. I want to make Night Boyz 3. The ideas are already up here. I think me and Leslie talked about a little bit of the ideas, but I just want to keep working, whatever it takes. Like if this one is successful, that's going to, seed Night Boyz 2 and 3, let's go, let's get it, right? I just want to keep working. I don't even care about the money or anything like that. I just want to keep working.
I care about the money. No.
But, that is a good, it is the icing to take, right? But it's just, I didn't want to stop filming. And, we got to 90% done with the filming. We had to shut down for a year because we ran out of money. And I sat there and I begged for about 9 months. And it got to the point where it's like, man, I'm just going to take a job, working, saving up money, and, still couldn't get it. And luckily, Leslie came in at the last minute and saved this project, man. And, you got us to the finish line. But, it's just, I never want to stop working. I never want to stop creating. So I got to do what I got to do to keep that going because there's just too much up here. I don't know if you've ever seen the Michael Jackson made for TV movie, The Jacksons, back in the 90s that he did.
Yes.
There's a scene right before he dropped Thriller or Off the Wall. He's sitting there with his mom. He's crying. And she's like, what's wrong, Michael? And he's telling her, like, my head hurts. He's like, I have too many songs in my head. It hurts. And that's similar to what I'm feeling, right? I have too many ideas, too many movies, too many scenes. There's just too much up here. I have to get it out, So I got to do like an addict in a sense, right? I got to do what I got to do to supply my habit. And I got to get these projects made and get these things out because this is just the frost on the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the ideas that I have in my head that I got to get out, and all I want to do is create. That's all I want to do. Create. And that's pretty much my expectations from this, that it's going to lead to the next one and the next one and the next one. And no matter what, always keep moving forward, always keep trucking.
Man, I love this. This podcast has been really inspirational. I love having you guys on here. I mean, now Leslie is no Angel. He came and saved the. That's he put that on his resume. Angel, came and saved the day, and I love that. People can take really inspiration from this. To stay on your dreams, regardless. Stay with your dreams. Exactly. It's about the journey sometimes. I'm listening to Leslie, and what I'm picking up from him, he's saying, man, I love things to happen, but I love the journey also. That's what I'm getting. And I just want to thank you guys for coming on the show. And usually with my guests, what I usually ask them towards the end of my show is that, do they have any words of wisdom for people who are coming up behind them? Like for the young kids is coming out of school. Some of them don't want to go to college because they think that filmmaker, they can make it on their own. They don't need to go to college. Do you have any sort of inspiration? This is for both of you guys. So I want both of you guys to answer this. Do you have any words of wisdom that can, a young person can take?
First of all, I would actually say, go to school, but that's not set in stone. And most times you get out of school, you owe the government or whatever so many thousands of dollars. So, there's so many ways to actually teach yourself these things now. You've got YouTube, you've got this, that, and the third, And I say connect with your passion, and follow that through, whatever that is, follow that through. Do not, like you say, give up on your dreams. Do not give up on your dreams. I'm an old man now, considered by everybody else's standards, because I'm 64 years old, soon be 65, and the fact of the matter is I am still doing the things that I am blessed to do and I have inside me to do, and I am a happy man, and hey, stay healthy, go for your dream, and don't let anybody put salt in your dream. That's all I have to say. Just keep moving forward.
Cool. Go ahead, my man.
Yeah, I would have to say the first thing is do your best to identify what is your passion. What do you love to do? I would always ask people, if you won the lottery today and you didn't have to worry about money anymore, all your bills are paid, everything's good, what would you do with your time? And usually that's a lot of people would answer what their passions are. So go after that, right? In today's day and age, it is hard to go after your passion and pay the bills. So you got to have a little bit of hustle sprinkled in there as well, right? But I'd have to say, just do it. It's cliche to say, don't give up, follow your dreams and all that stuff, but it's true. Do what makes you happy. And I always say YouTube University, hands down, is the best thing you could ever have. Every day when I wake up, I'm learning on YouTube. Every night before I go to bed, I'm learning on YouTube. When I ran into problems in editing, I went on YouTube. I learned how to do it. I did it myself, right? And just don't stop. Sometimes the only difference between you and the next person is they gave up and you didn't. Consistency is key, right? Don't stop doing what you're doing. Well, what did we talk about before we went on? It is no 0 days, meaning even if you just check that one email or send that one text message, just do one thing. And I'm telling you, you'll feel a little bit of accomplishment versus not doing anything at all. And, feeling some type of way, right? But also, it's just when it comes to being a director, pick up a camera, pick up your phone, pick up anything, and just shoot. It doesn't matter what you're shooting. Shoot your little dog, shoot your sister with the phone and the camera. Go on YouTube, learn how to cut it. Make a quick little commercial. Do something for fun. Learn how to do it, but just do it. Because once you do it, now you're a director. I was in the studio one time when I worked on this radio station, and it was a big radio show. And my mentor was like, "Hey, what do you want to do? Like, what are your goals?" I said, "Well, my goal is to be a producer, to do this, to do that." He's like, "What did you just do for me right now?" I was like, "Well, I did this real quick." He's like, "You are a producer. You just produced for me. So now what?" I'm like, and it clicked in my head, like, "Oh crap." So you are your own worst enemy sometimes when you hinder your thought process. I never thought of myself as a producer, and I actually was one, right? So it starts with you. You got to be able to tell yourself these things because, man, through all these experiences in life that I've had, all these different wars I've been through, all these different military things and, personal ups and downs, even to this day, waking up today, my mind's playing tricks on me, right? Like, hey, you're not going to get this done. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. That's always going to be there. You're going to be always in your own way. So if you can tame that beast within, you'll be all right. And, don't lie to yourself, but at the same time, don't sell yourself short. And whichever, like the Native Americans say, whichever wolf you feed in you, whether it's the good one or the bad one, that's what you're going to become. So just do it. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about. Just do it and keep learning all day, every day. You can never stop learning. Even when you get out of school, I study every single day and, be a seeker, do things that are right for you. Sometimes this person's path might not be the same path for you, but take what they've done and learn from it, right? Everybody's a different chess piece in this game we call life. Some people are only one track minded. They can only move like pawns. Some people can move like the rooks, right? And some people can move like a queen. Some people can adapt to any situation and move in all these different ways. So the quicker you realize that everybody's different and not everybody thinks like you, it's also an easier process, because then you can navigate through people and life and all that. But man, just don't stop, because once you stop stagnant, idle time is, what is it? Idle time, the devil, whatever, is the devil's workshop. Do not stop. That's all I got to say.
Man, I love you guys' advice. Just be yourself, do what you want to do, follow your dreams. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. This has been really a learning lesson. I learned a lot here. I love Our Vision, Caribbean and Latino Film Podcast. It all happens here, So I want to again thank you guys. I want to thank Mr. Jones, Leslie. I want to thank, I keep messing up your name, so I'm going to say, I want to thank this incredible filmmaker.
Good life.
There you go. I want to thank this incredible filmmaker. Every one of you guys for coming on the show. I truly appreciate it, man. I learned so much.
Thank you for having me.
Just let everybody know at the Night Boyz movie on all the social media. Night Boyz is spelled with a Z, so you just Google it or you'll find it everywhere. We're on Instagram. We have thenightboysmovie.com. Everything is on there as far as all the information you need, all the updates and things like that. So if you follow us, then you'll be able to get all the updates, and you'll know when we're coming to a hood near you.
Click the link in our profile now to submit your film to the next Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival to share your work, reach your audience, and turn your dreams into reality.